There we go. And obviously, by this time, we'd made our Nova Heart, and it was a hit across the country. And because of it, we were in a small label. As you can see, Ready Records is spinning around there. Small Canadian label had Blue Peter and the Demics in New York City. And all of a sudden, A&M Los Angeles was interested in us. And they came up and saw us at a little bar. They signed us next morning. It was that quick. So we suddenly had a budget to do something, on an international scale. And John said, let's do the album in England. I said, yeah, we have the money, why not, right? So we went to George Martin's studio and Air Studios in London, right downtown London. Like, incredible stuff had been made, right from Sgt. Pepper days to current, Japan was recording them when we were there. And that was a big move for us. All of a sudden we realized this is getting serious. And this song, it's kind of the theme of the album. This is kind of like our brick in the wall. Arias and Symphonies. Arias is like a moment in a musical production where the solo shines and stands out from the big symphony. So it's all about preconceived notions of what you should be, like as a boy growing up or as a young girl growing up. That's why it starts off with the line, is it hard to be the kind of man you want to be? That's really the theme of the whole thing. Coming out of school, we're sort of always played with that theme, being individual and not being part of the big machine. I remember coming to London and John Punter taking us into Air Studios, which is a big deal. And I remember working on this song like this, and this guy comes in, shirt sleeves rolled up. It was George Martin. I shake everybody's hand, but at the time I was so into '80s bands. I was more interested in waiting to meet like Dave Sylvian or something from Japan. I didn't even, okay, hi, It's like, no, it's incredible. I wish I was back there to chat with him some more. But I guess we were just one of thousands of bands that came through his hallowed halls there. But George Martin came in. And all the people that we met just being there, Pretenders were there, Dexys Midnight Runners were there, Paul McCartney was just coming. It was just, like I said, all of a sudden we felt like we were on the international stage, just being in that company. We recorded most of the album in Toronto, but we did all the vocals and mixes at Air. It was a great experience. And I think every album that we ever made kind of absorbs some of the city that you're in. Like if we recorded in Toronto, it's kind of very, at least I feel it, but there's definitely a lot of London in this. I can just feel it. We made another album in Wales, and I can sort of get the feeling of the hills and the sheep and the castles, but this is like London. It's like back cobbled streets and kind of walking and getting lost and in the fog and the sort of emerging again. And hopefully there's kind of a worthwhile journey in between. It's sort of very, but lots of layers and depth to it. And not just in the arrangements, but lyrically, and I think it comes across. Yeah, it's great hearing it again. Big influence before we made this, if anybody is a fan of Ultravox, Vienna album, if you didn't know it, but the cover, this is the Spanish writing school in Vienna, so when we saw that picture, I said perfect, because we loved that whole direction that they were taking. And Mitch was just in town. I was hoping to bump into him. We talked by email. Because one of the biggest compliments we ever got was this song in NME magazine in London said it was the best song that Ultravox never wrote, which I didn't believe, because I looked up to those guys like gods. I thought that was quite a compliment, especially because we were trying to achieve that level of sophistication. I guess we did. Yeah. We still play this to this day. I do this as a rock song on my three-piece band sometimes. It still works. And I can do it acoustically on acoustic guitar. I've done that lately. I did an unplugged thing with Gowan, and he did his songs on piano. I just did them on acoustic guitar. And it was amazing how these songs, whether Nova Heart or Arias, they all translate really well into like campfire songs pretty well. Even though there's so much going on, really. It's like the thesis at the end of our musical education. There's way too much going on here, but it's great for its time. I love it. I remember when we got the sleeve that Peter Noble had been working on. He did all kinds of big albums, and then we got this, the final mix. Let's put the two together. We said we're ready. We're ready to take on the world. We really believed we had something, and the rest is history, I guess.